Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Story Dude. My name is Francis Pavel. We're going to dive into some of the best stories that have been published on the internet recently, possibly some of the most controversial ones, and we're going to discuss the far-ranging implications of what we're about to read. So strap in for Story Time with Story Dude, right here on YouTube. Am I the a-hole for asking my wife to go out less? I love my wife. That's kind of like the equivalent of starting a distasteful joke with "I'm not racist," but I love my wife, but terrible thing. She's the light of my life. Oh man, this is already digging a massive hole for himself. We have been together for 6 years and married for 4. She has 2 wonderful children from a previous marriage. They are with us Monday through Friday, and then go with their biological father from school on Friday. I love them very much and I consider them my own children. I work a full-time job as an executive in a technology company. About 50 hours per week, I travel about 1 week every 2 months or so. My wife is a stay-at-home mom. She does fantastic. I don't know, I have like flashbacks to Donald Trump right now. She's fantastic. She is the best. She had her first child at 18 and she has been a stay-at-home mom since. This is soon to be important. Recently, she met a friend who is 25, single, and loves to party. And slowly but surely, my wife started to pick up on this lifestyle. Now we're at full tilt. Oh man, I feel bad for. I think I might have to change my outlook on this. I really got a feeling that this guy was the a-hole at the beginning, but something's fishy here with this wife. I took notes of the last 12 weekends just to see if I'm crazy, and I know Reddit loves good data. Counting Friday and Saturday over the last 12 weekends includes 24 weekend nights, stretching back to the week of Halloween. Out of those 24 days, she went out for 17 of them, and generally does not come home until after 2. Oh boy, it's not looking good. This is not looking good. She texts me generally the whole time. She's out, but she drinks, which is fine. Smokes, not a fan of. And now she's told me she has tried cocaine once or twice. Okay, that once or twice means she does coke every single time, and she's just been coke binging with her 25-year-old friends. Time for a quick detour. Growing up, I had only my mom and her roommates. My mom was a stripper, and her varying and often changing roommates were also strippers. From around the age of 8, would tuck me into bed. She'd see me in the morning, and then, unbeknownst to me for a long while, leave to go to work at the strip club. I distinctly remember so many times waking up to find the house completely empty and eerily silent and crying myself back to sleep. Oh my God. And I was also very confused as to why my mom would do that to me. But I knew, even if I didn't know the word at the time, I was being abandoned. Eventually, I became numb to it. I didn't speak to my mom anymore, 24 plus years later. I feel that now. Even as it's Friday and my wife is taking a nap before we go to dinner and drives separate cars so she can go hang with her friends at the bar afterwards until 2 a.m. Oh man, this is hitting me in the feels big time. We've had it out. We've had it out before. I've told her I felt abandoned, and her response was, I never got to go out. I had kids. They're with their father on the weekends, so I know they're safe. I'm sorry, I like to go out with my friends. I don't know what to tell you. I wanted to say, I'm sorry you had children. That was your decision, and now you're 30, which is a bad argument. Age shouldn't be a factor here, but I'm winging it. And you're married, and if you want to go sometimes, that's fine. But I think you are going out too much. I'm writing this post because not only am I concerned with am I being the asshole, I have my own hobbies and my own friends, but I like to see my wife. I like to hang out with my wife. She is my best friend. And the other reason I'm writing this is because we're becoming numb to what she's doing, and I'm not sure if I'm to blame, she is, or we both are. Man, there's a lot to unpack here, because I feel she does have the right to go out and have a good time, but this whole cocaine thing is probably worse than it sounds in my experience. If someone says that they're doing some small amount of drugs, it probably means they're doing a lot of drugs, except for the rare case of the disciplined microdoser, but that's quite rare to find. The fact that it connects with your with your childhood trauma, I think is a huge deal, and that I'm not sure if you mentioned that to your wife already, but I think that might change the tone of the conversation a little bit. And what I'm just thinking off the bat is, maybe you guys can make it more of a habit to go out together. If that's what she's lacking in her life, going out and getting a few drinks, she can go out and get a few drinks with you and not necessarily without you with her, younger friends. But anyway, let's see what the community has to say about this. NTA. Does she realize that drug use can compromise her custody arrangement? If the ex gets wind of mom doing coke, he'd be a complete deadbeat to not move for full custody. She's risking literally everything with her behavior. Oh man, I didn't think about that. I mean, maybe she's doing it on purpose. NTA, cocaine! Look at the signs. You are being given. Out all weekend doing cocaine. Those are some serious signs. Although, I mean, frankly, coming home at 2 a.m. while doing coke is pretty responsible. Now that I think about it, if the cocaine use was more intense, she'd be coming home like at 9 in the morning. Often, married people, especially those who are parents at a very young age, tend to want to experience the other side of life, where the fun and the glitz of it all makes it seem as though the grass is greener on the other side. If not dealt with, she could begin to spiral. Cocaine makes people do things they wouldn't normally do, and sometimes that's with other people. She won't hit her. She won't hit her until it's too late. So I hope you two can work it out. For sure. NTA, but I don't recommend saying what you wrote out that you wanted to say. I recommend just telling her what you said here, that she's your best friend and you're missing her. You want to have date nights when the kids are gone, and you want to have movie nights, cuddle nights, etc. And also possibly going out and getting fucked up nights. Excuse my French, YouTube police, I'm so sorry about that. That's a slip of tongue. Please, please let that one slide. I'm just trying to make a point here that, you have to meet her both ways. I mean, you can't just have your wife at home to be your ideal stay-at-home best friend buddy to game and watch videos and whatnot. You have to be willing to go out and party too. Maybe take dance lessons or something. Although that sounds like the worst thing ever, I know that means a lot to some women to learn how to dance with them. So, NTA, and holy crap, this woman reminds me of my mother. Had me at a young age with my dad, who was even younger and not at all ready to be a dad. Worked a dead-end waitress job at age 30, so she could get off work and immediately go spend all her tips with her 21-plus coworkers drinking and getting wasted, while poor little me was alone at our crappy apartment, starving and crying for my mom. Goodness gracious. Thankfully, your children have that parent to go to, but if she's doing coke, I can absolutely see this going in a bad direction. Yes, it doesn't seem that bad now, but I agree this could be going very much downhill. Maybe suggest going and seeing a therapist or marriage counselor. See if this is her way of rebelling or maybe a midlife crisis. Have you met these friends before? That's a good point. Who is this 25-year-old friend? What is she like or he like? NTA. That would drive me crazy. Many might say that you are the asshole because she's her own woman and could do what she pleases, but I think that couples have a responsibility to make each other feel cared for and prioritize sometimes when it comes to friends. It's not controlling to want your wife to not act like a 20-year-old party animal for the sake of her relationship. True that. All right, let's move on to the next conversation here. Am I the a-hole for asking to be paid for 6 months of constant dog sitting? Man, I have to say I just really appreciate the lighter tone of this one. The last one is a little bit rough. Anyway, my sister, Alice, owns a flat with her husband and they have 2 dogs. Alice got a job abroad, so they are moving there. They don't know what to do with the 2 dogs yet, so their current plan is to move abroad and wait a few months, up to 6, to decide if they even like it there or if they want to come back home. If they like it there, they will try to find a way to move the dogs there with them, but if it's not possible, they will rehome them in our country. I'm 21 years old, still attending university, and I live with my mom. I really want to move out and live alone, but I can't afford it. So Alice made me an offer. I can live in their flat for free for 6 months, no rent, no utilities, but I have to take care of their dogs. I'll have to walk them for hours every day, take them to the vet, etc. She said she will pay for everything dog related and will pay for doggy daycare for a few days during my exam periods, or if I want to go on vacation. I like her offer. Her flat is much closer to my university, but taking care of 2 dogs is a lot of work. Well, so is, making enough money to pay the rent on a flat. I think it's reasonable to want to be paid for the work I do. If I didn't have to take care of the dogs, I could get a part-time job if I wanted to. So I feel like I should be reimbursed for that. Alice and our mom says that being allowed to live in her flat for free is already enough, and I'm being unreasonable and money hungry. When they told me this, I laughed at them and told my sister that she could try to find another dog sitter, and I know I'm her best option. Now they're mad at me. Am I the a-hole? Well, before I reel the... Alright, I'll read the update first. Okay, I effed up. I really thought Alice didn't have any other options. My brother just told me she's now talking to our cousin, who lives 2 hours away, but wants to move to our city. They're even talking about possibly making it a long-term thing, and cousin being allowed to stay after the free 6 months is up for reduced rent, only having to pay an equal amount to their mortgage, which would normally only rent him a room. YTA, you will live rent-free and utilities-free, alone in a flat closer to your uni. Try Googling how much you'd have to cough up in cash to do the same, and bam, that's how much you are getting paid for dog sitting. With the current economy situation, I imagine that some won't come up low. Yeah, I have to agree with this. I mean, I think also your assumption that you're going to have to walk the dogs for hours. I mean, she's not going to know how long you walk those dogs for. You do realize how much rent for even a basic apartment costs, right? Plus water, electricity, and internet bills. And on top of that, there will be no personal costs for the dogs. That's way more money in bills than you ought to be getting paid in dog sitting money anyways. Even if she did for some reason agree, and you really want to move out, right? Well, unfortunately, now you are getting that option because she is going to get another sitter now that you have shown yourself off to be ungrateful of an offer. Is it me or is this really hard to read? And kind of an idiot for burning such a good offer. Plenty of people will kill for 6 months of free living with the only cost of time spent taking care of dogs. You are very much replaceable there. Wow, kind of coming down a little harsh on OP there. I mean, it's not unreasonable what they asked for. I mean, you could say it nicely. OP is reeking, I have never worked a job in my life vibes. You're the asshole. Yeah, but you gotta start somewhere. You're the a-hole. I think it's reasonable to want to be paid for the work I do. They are paying you with free room and board as well as utilities. I don't know how one covers the cost of gas, water, electric, etc. in countries outside of the US. True, but I think, OP did say that there's an opportunity cost and made it sound like these dogs are super high maintenance. I said earlier that, you don't need to walk the dogs for 4 hours or whatever every day. But if that's the case and taking care of the dogs is keeping you from living a normal life, then it's worth discussing. But obviously, I'm wrong here because everyone thinks you're the a-hole. Sorry. I'm just trying to play a devil's advocate, I'd maybe look at how much renting their home would be and compare that to how much you'd be paid to dog sit. Pretty sure you're the a-hole here and kind of a dumbass as well. I prefer this comment. It's a little more, it's like coming down too harsh on the OP. They sound like they're young, And that's it for those two stories. I hope you leave your comments in the comments section and you'll consider subscribing to our channel as we've got a lot more great stories coming your way. Once again, this has been Story Dude. To everyone and anyone out there listening, I wish you a great day and we'll catch you again soon. Adios.